Imagine a 60-year-old woman named Zoe. Zoe lives with a permanent disability, and she has just reached retirement age. Waiting for her in a dedicated account is exactly $552,723. This chart shows the disparity between the final balance and the capital used to build it. That tiny column on the left represents Zoe's total, lifetime out-of-pocket contribution, just $30,000, deposited in small increments over 2 decades. In a standard retail savings account, a $30,000 principal would require a consistent annual rate of return far beyond historical market averages to reach that $500,000 mark. Yet, the mechanism Zoe used is a standard part of the Canadian tax system. Despite its availability, nearly 2/3 of eligible Canadians living with disabilities are not currently using it. This is the Registered Disability Savings Plan, or RDSP. By deconstructing the specific government incentives and insurance protections inside Zoe's account, we can see exactly how this capital was generated. The strategy begins when Zoe is 20 years old. The only requirement to open the plan is qualifying for the disability tax credit, which serves as the federal certification of her eligibility. Once the plan is open, Zoe begins making a modest personal contribution of $1,500 every year. This personal deposit triggers the federal government's matching engine. Through the Canada Disability Savings Grant and the Canada Disability Savings Bond, the government begins adding capital to the account alongside her. This shows how the first matching tier accelerates her savings. Zoe puts in her first $500, and the government matches it 3-to-1, adding $1,500 of federal funding to the account. For the next $1,000 she contributes, the government provides a 2-to-1 match, adding another $2,000 to the pile. Finally, because Zoe's income falls below specific thresholds, the government adds a $1,000 bond without requiring any contribution at all. The result is a $6,000 total annual influx from a single $1,500 deposit. This matching continues annually until Zoe reaches a lifetime limit of $90,000 in free federal grants and bonds. This structure shifts the primary burden of funding the account away from the individual. In this model, the government's contributions become the main driver of the portfolio's growth. By age 39, Zoe has maxed out her available government matching. She stops making personal contributions and allows the existing balance to sit and compound for another 20 years. However, long-term compounding requires time, and time introduces the risk of a market crash. If a major downturn occurs right before Zoe needs to access her funds, it could erase years of growth. To mitigate this, Zoe uses the Empire Life version of the RDSP, which holds investments inside segregated funds. These are essentially investment funds wrapped in an insurance contract. This chart shows how that insurance wrapper functions. As the portfolio's value reaches new highs, a guarantee floor resets annually to lock in those peaks for the death benefit. If the market value subsequently drops, the protected floor remains at that previous high. But there is a trade-off for these federal incentives. It is known as the assistance holdback amount, and it enforces a strict rule for anyone trying to access their money early. If Zoe withdraws funds within 10 years of receiving a grant or bond, she must repay the government $3 for every $1 she takes out. This penalty ensures the RDSP remains a long-term retirement vehicle rather than a liquid savings account. By the time Zoe reaches age 60, she has cleared that 10-year holdback window. She now has full, penalty-free access to her $552,723 balance. This balance is then converted into lifetime disability assistance payments, providing a recurring, protected income stream for the rest of her life. For those eligible to replicate this strategy, the most significant factor is not the performance of the underlying investments, but the timing of the start date. The government stop date is absolute. Federal grants and bonds are only available until December 31st of the year the beneficiary turns 49. Every year of delay represents a permanent loss of potential matching funds. To begin, the necessary steps are clear. Secure the disability tax credit, file tax returns to establish income history, and coordinate with an advisor to start the matching process before the age limits take effect.